Hi guys, welcome to Whiskey Ridge. I'm Joyann King, editor of harpersbazaar.com. Come on in. This house actually has a really interesting story. It was built in the late 80s, but it is made from the parts of three 1850s colonial homes. So the authentic wood floors, the windows, the doors, a lot of like the charm that you feel throughout the house is all dates back to the 1850s. I'm gonna take you into our formal living room first. This has got to be one of my favorite rooms from a design perspective. I love that it's got this just beautiful white and black palette. However, I will say practically, we don't spend a lot of time in here because you don't want to get red wine all over these couches. My husband and I are really into photography, and this is a photograph by Edward Bertinsky that we bought right after we met, and I love the way that it sort of picks up a lot of the hues in the room, and it looks like sort of like an abstract painting, but it's actually a photograph of a bunch of oil lands in Texas. These are my favorite chairs in the house. I found them at Brimfield Flea Market with a friend right after we had bought the house 4 years ago, but they were deemed unsittable by my husband, so they've been relinquished to a corner just to be viewed and not sat upon. And they just really have that kind of country glam vibe that I love. This is where we spend all of our time. On the side porch, overlooking these beautiful rolling hills. And these two Adirondack chairs actually are really special to me. We picked them up on the side of the road for like 20 bucks each the day after we bought this house, and it's actually where Jeremy proposed to me, so it's very sentimental. So this is our sunroom, and the room where I had a lot of fun with color. I love, as a fashion editor, I love prints. So I love my rainbow E-cap pillows, my butterfly pillow. This is where my golden doodle Isla likes to watch for her squirrels and her birds, am I right? Yes. We have this really beautiful ceiling moment in here that kind of threw us for a design loop when we first moved in. We weren't sure if we should paint it white or make it look a little bit more sleek. But ultimately we ended up leaving it exactly as it was and juxtaposing this antler chandelier to kind of give it a little bit of that modern touch that we're looking for. So instead of doing another dining room, we were like, we don't need 4 kitchen tables. We decided to make a bar room where we could put our feet up, watch TV, read a book, enjoy the view. And what's cool about this room actually is the artwork in it. My husband's uncle is a relatively famous wildlife artist, and all of these are his paintings, which are so beautiful. And so I sort of took a cue from Pinterest and put them all into this sort of statement gallery wall where we can enjoy them all together. These leather chairs are from Restoration Hardware. They're supposed to look like they're from Paris in the 1850s, but they're not. We give them a lot of love. We let our dogs sit in them. We spend a lot of hours in here, so they've been very good to us. This is our dining room that we renovated 2 years after buying the house. We replaced some of the small windows with these huge picturesque windows so we could really enjoy the view. We got this really beautiful handmade dining room table, actually from a local woodworker in Rhinebeck. I love the brass inlays, sort of back to my country glam style. These Biedermeier candles are actually like sort of famous in the design world, and I borrowed them for my tabletop during my wedding, and I was so obsessed with them that I begged my husband for our first anniversary to buy them for me so that I could have them forever. The kitchen is where we spend all of our time. We actually gut renovated it 2 years ago because it's where everybody gathers the entire weekend. I love these French bistro dining chairs that just remind me of an evening in Paris. And I really wanted the lighting to have a nod to rustic modern throughout the rest of the house. This is our master bedroom. I mentioned before that I love prints, and I think this is sort of like a culmination of my obsession. I think the trick with working with lots of different fabrics is to really stick to a color palette. So in here, it's really about the black and the cream, and then this sort of burst of burnt orange. And if you stick to that, you can kind of have a lot of variety in the prints that you choose. This is such a sexy chair. It's called a Papa Bear chair. We recovered it in kind of this cozy, modern, light gray flannel, and it's one of my favorite places to kick my feet up and read a book. This is my daughter Sienna's nursery. She's 10 months old, so we just did this room, and I did this very mural, whimsical wallpaper on all 4 walls that really sparks the imagination every time I put her into her crib. A Restoration Hardware baby find, it's like my favorite. She's just always staring at the wallpaper and is totally entranced. And welcome to my bathroom. This is where I come to relax and just take some me time. My husband and I have his and her bathrooms, which at first I was like, really? You don't want to share a bathroom with me? But now I totally get it. His is very masculine and clean, and I really wanted to go super girly in here with a lot of green and pinks and florals. These are a little bit of boho glam chandeliers. They're made of like white beads. They have a bit of a 70s disco vibe, or maybe Paris in the 30s. And I cannot remember where I found them. It must have been on some deep eBay dive, but I think they really bring the room together. So now we're on the 3rd floor, which has some of my favorite rooms. All of my friends fight over the black and white trawl room when they come to stay with us. The 3rd floor had pretty low ceilings, and I knew I wanted to do something that was like very graphically impactful. So I really looked for statement wallpaper that could cover all the walls and all of the ceiling. This is actually one of my favorite pieces in the room. It's a vintage trunk that I found at the Paris flea market in between fashion shows the September after we moved into the house. So it's a really special piece for me, and I just feel like it has like that very historical vibe that I was going for up here. I feel like a 4-poster bed is a must in like a country house. I found this on sale. I was so worried when it got delivered, but it ended up being one of our like favorite beds in the house. I love this room. I call it the star room because of the wallpaper. We've got a little red theme going on. My husband and I had just gotten engaged when we moved into this house, so we each brought all of these like random knickknacks and sort of sentimental things to the mix. So I've been trying to find a place for all of them. I love dogs, and my first dog actually was a King Charles Cavalier, and they make these amazing collectible statues. They're actually really hard to find, and my mom gave me one of these for Christmas, and I just love the little pop of orange in the corner. And lastly, this is our pool and our side porch where we hang out and go swimming with Sienna and have friends over and do pool parties. And this is where our golden doodle likes to swim all summer long, and I like to sort of stay out of the sun and just hang out on the couch, reading and napping with my daughter, and just sort of enjoying being out in nature. Thanks for coming home with me.